Welcome back again. Fred here, and today I'm introducing the book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. And this is an amazing book, and I really want to talk about why. The main topic is financial literacy, and it's something that I think in our generation we all need to know the basics about financial literacy. And that's why I recommend this book, and you will find out in this video more about it. Again, I split up this video in a few parts. First, I just want to give a little bit of an introduction and why it's so important that you understand financial literacy. Then I want to talk about the life lessons or the investing lessons learned from this book. And in the end, again, give a final verdict on this lovely book from Robert. So let's start with a brief introduction and explain why it's so important that you understand the basics of the financial system in our generation. So let's start off immediately with the bank interest rates. Right now, to put money in the bank, you're not going to make any money with it, and you're more likely actually to pay money to put your money in the bank. This was not the case in the previous generations. It was a good investment to put your money in the bank, but now that's not the case. So Robert explains very well how important it is that you create a certain income for yourself with the money that you're not using at the moment. So that's basically the idea behind the book, and it explains it very, very well. So let's start with some of the lessons learned. So the first and most important lesson is Money 101. It's about changing your mindset. So what Robert teaches in this book, it's the basics again about financial literacy, and what he talks about is how to get out of the rat race. The rat race is it's a very simple idea of at the end of the month you need to pay your bills. During the month you're working, so at the end of the month you can pay your bills. What you're doing basically is you need to earn money during the month to pay it in the end anyway. What Robert wants to teach you is how can you earn passive income? How can you invest money now that gives you return every month or every year that you can use to pay your bills? The moment that your passive income is as high as the bills at the end of the month, you're out of the rat race. At that moment, all the income you earn from working can actually be put into investing, hobbies, whatever. That's the whole idea about Money 101. And Robert again explains it super easy. He explains what assets are, what liabilities are, how you can reduce your liabilities and how you can increase your assets by buying stocks, by buying a building, renting out a building, whatever. It explains it very easily, and I don't want to go into too much details because it would just complicate things, but I hope you understand the principle behind the rat race and what Robert is trying to teach you in this specific book. One important thing that I want to add to this is that Robert has a beautiful quote, and it goes the following: some people talk about, I can't afford it. And what I can't afford it tells you is that it shuts down your brain. You're like, there's no option for me to buy this. But he says, no, what a rich dad would say is, how can I afford it? What can I change in my monthly spending in order to afford this thing later on? And when you say, how can I afford it? You open up your brain for different possibilities. You're gonna think about how to solve this problem. And there he gives the differential between poor dad who says, I can't afford it, rich dad, how can I afford it? By keeping that in mind in this book, you will find out a lot of nice life lessons. And talking about life lessons, let's continue to the second part of the video. So I have 3 tips for you. Tip number 1 is the rich don't work for money, money works for them. Just the principle behind this idea of the rich don't work for money, but money works for them is that they invest their money in such a way that they don't just spend the money right away in a way that doesn't give them money in the future. No, they use their money and put it in things that give them return later on in the future by giving them constant passive returns. This brings me to the second tip, which is understanding financial literacy. How can you create passive income? You will find it out by reading this book. And the third point is, Robert really talks about you have to work to learn and not learn to work. Most of us spend our lives learning to work, but we actually have to have a job, do something that makes us learn more. Because by learning more, we can find out new possibilities to earn more passive income in this respect. So let's finish up the life tips here and continue to the final verdict of this book. Because I have some things to say about this book in general. I think Robert did a great job at explaining financial literacy in a very easy way. Everyone can read this book. It's very easy to follow and it has very great reflections at the end of each chapter. What I do have to admit is that it feels like that Robert's sole purpose is earning money, and that's something that I don't like in general. I always think that if you're just doing something for earning money, it's not for the right reasons. So in that respect, I want to say, don't follow his advice too much, because it feels like take everything a little bit with a grain of salt. I would really advise not to just, take it with a grain of salt. That's all what I want to say about it. I think it's a great book, very easy to read, but take it with a grain of salt. Hereby, I want to end this video about this amazing book, and I really hope that you order it and that you pick it up and read it. And please let me know what you thought about it. Maybe you have read it already, then please let me know in the comments as well. And also please share what you want to see more in my future videos. I'm moving to LA soon and I'm very keen to see what you guys think and what your thoughts are. Please like and subscribe, and if you know what I'm gonna say after this, stay positive, be happy, Fred out.